am a counselor. My work title is offsite therapist, and I also have trainings in trauma therapy as well as CBTA certifications. I'm also on my way to becoming a licensed counseling supervisor. I got my master's degree from Hood College in counseling mental health, and I'm working on getting my PhD from Hood as well. I currently work at a place called Advanced Behavioral Health. We have locations all over the state of Maryland, including Frederick, Baltimore, Greenbelt, and Carroll County is our newest one. Therapeutic options for people of all ages. We have all these locations where we have off-site therapists that perform therapy. And off-site means that we go to people's houses, we go to people's schools, we go anywhere our clients are to provide therapy. And we have clients in our agency from the age of 4 to over 80. So we have a variety of ages we provide therapy to.
Thank you for that information. And I hope that's a good start to our young leaders as far as what a counselor does and the different type of services that a counselor can provide. But just to go deeper into that conversation, what made you want to come to become a licensed therapist or a counselor?
When I was in high school, I had a teacher, and every year until I think this was like senior year when I did AP psychology, I finally took the AP psychology class and fell in love with psychology. And when I was in undergrad, obviously I wanted to major in psychology, but I wasn't sure what to do with it. There's a lot of different people will tell you there's a lot of different fields you can go into with psychology. There's school counseling, there's mental health counseling, there's psychologists, there's occupational therapists, all different types of things. But in undergrad, understanding that I didn't really want to do a lot of assessments. And psychologists do a lot of assessments. School psychologists do a lot of assessments where they're testing for what you call educational deficiencies, people who have dyslexia or ADHD, those type of things. I didn't really want to sit around doing a lot of assessments. Counseling is a field where you are more working through the problem. It's more solution focused. So instead of saying this is the problem, counseling is very much, okay, this is the problem and how we're going to fix it. What are we going to do to move forward? So that's the reason why I wanted to become a counselor.
Gotcha. Thank you for that response and just letting us know a little bit about the why to your occupation. So, in your explanation, you mentioned the different fields that counseling specializes in. Can you go a little bit about the different type of counselors and how you choose that in particular? How does one know what type of counseling they want to specialize in? What does that look like?
The good thing about counseling, and I guess any field really, is that you get to test things out. So in grad school, when you're becoming a counselor, in about a year and a half in, you do this thing called a internship. Let's say internship, because there's also practicum, but you do internship, and you find a place where you say, I want to go intern here. And in the course of it, you have 2 internships where you intern at 2 different places. With that being said, you decide where you want to go. So I decided to go in a hospital, for example, and I realized I didn't really like inpatient therapy. I wanted to do more outpatient therapy.
Mm.
Uh, People decide that they want to strictly work with kids, so they do school counseling, and they go there and they love it. Or some people go there and they're like, maybe it's not for me, the structure of it, and they go more towards outpatient. But the good thing about counseling is that it's very fluid. You can go from school counseling to outpatient. There's some certifications, but it's not too bad in terms of you trying to switch over. It's pretty cool. And I do school counseling in a sense because I go into schools. I'm contracted by Frederick County Public Schools to go into schools and do therapy. There's so many different, there's drug and alcohol counselors. There are marriage counselors. There are, like me, there's trauma counselors. There's career counseling there, and find what you have a knack for. If it's career counseling, rehab counseling, you want to help people through drug and alcohol issues. There's career counseling, there's grief counseling. It's about what you feel like you can help people through.
Exactly.
There's a wide range of things.
And I know with you in particular, you had mentioned you finding out later that you wanted to be a counselor. So, what was that journey from like mid high school to college?
And I think it's because a lot of people in high school, I really don't know. You have all these ideas of what you want to do. And then you're like, I'll figure it out. I do want to go to college. I know I want to go to college. I don't know what I'm going to go to college for. And the great thing about college is that first year, it's really just about the basics. Like
Mhm.
you getting to school, you taking the basic classes, math, writing, you getting acclimated into college life. And you have counselors, like you have your school counselors, even in college, that are being like, what do you want to do? Because we're going to get you in these classes, and this is how you're going to progress through it. So eventually, I think probably my second year of college, I decided that I was going to get a dual degree, a dual bachelor's degree in psychology. And then my second one was in psychology and sociology. And so I also tinkered with the idea of being a social worker, but decided to dive more into the therapeutic aspect of psychology. My counselor really helped me find the proper classes, when to take them. And then when you're about to graduate with your bachelor's, they even help you try to figure out where you're going to apply. Do you want to go to grad school? Are you going to take a break? Here are grad schools with your major that I think would be a good fit. There's a lot of help. I think you're just on your own after high school when it comes to the counselors. I know in high school you do talk to your school counselor about what class you're going to take. Same kind of process in college.
I gotcha. And you actually bring up an interesting point in terms of like social work, because with social work, like counseling, all of that fits under the umbrella of social work. So, what made you want to do? I know that you talked about the assessment piece, but what was the defining moment where you wanted to do or pursue your degree in just counseling and not social work?
So I think the main thing about social work is that they talk about having a caseload, right? And I think people see a lot of stuff on TV about what social workers do and their role in society. And the thing that kind of bothered me about being a social worker is that you have a role, like you get people into the space and then you leave them there. And again, counseling is, I'm helping you work through these problems. I feel like social work is very, I don't want to say temporary because it's necessary, but it does feel like a temporary aspect in that whole scheme of helping people.
And I know with counseling, you're doing like a lot of talking to people and, like you said, helping them work through their issues. How does counseling, like, how do you balance your self-care in terms of what your own struggles are?
I think you have to be able to, I want to say, turn that part of your brain off by doing things that you enjoy and finding space outside of, again, so we're off-site therapists and we go to people's different houses, and you are in a large area, especially if you live where you work. And so being able to find spaces outside of that area where you feel comfortable being able to do things that you like to do, because in any job you have, they're going to have these different hats where you're not only a person. Some people have kids, their moms, dads, all types of stuff, but you have to be able to put your different hats on, take your different hats off in different spaces, because at the end of the day, you still have to be you as a person and not a counselor. And I think exercise for me is big too, being able to exercise, keep myself healthy so I can continue to be able to do my job in the best of my ability. Health is wealth.
You're absolutely right. And that's good that you're able to establish that balance so that you can still show up for you. Because if you're not showing up for you, it's really impossible for you to show up for others. So that's good that you're able to not just talk on that balance, practice it and put it in motion. So that's good. That's part of anything that we do. So just going into your day, what does a typical day look like for you?
So usually I like to schedule my week the week before. And obviously there's cancellations, meetings pop up, all types of things. And again, I work in a large area, so I try to plan my day in terms of where my clients are in proximity to each other, because I would hate to drive 15 minutes one way and then have to go 20 minutes another way. I try to balance it out. But it is a lot of driving for me. But I think I like it better than sitting in an office and doing therapy,
Hmm.
because there's variety. Sometimes some clients like to walk. So you get to walk a lot, get your steps in, enjoy outside, enjoy a little bit of nature. I do a little bit of play therapy as well. So being able just to put yourself in, like, you're in a younger mindset when you're working with kids. We have notes we have to do every day when we see clients, just so we understand what we're talking about and justify our therapeutic interventions. Then you gotta find time for lunch, obviously, because you guys need a break. Sometimes I see 6 clients a day. Sometimes I see 9. It really depends. You gotta make sure that you're taking, like you asked me before about taking time for yourself. Is that taking time for yourself during the day just to make sure you eat?
Is important.
Yeah,
Hydrate yourself. Absolutely. What is the most clients you've seen in one day?
probably 11.
11.
11.
That's a lot of clients.
There's a lot.
1 hour sessions?
40 to 45 minutes.
That is a long day for 11
It
clients.
is. And a lot of times I will have sibling cases.
Gotcha.
So I'll see multiple siblings in the same house. I'm not running around for those 3 hours, but I'm in one spot for the 2 hours I'm there.
In terms of our young leaders at middle school, what can we start doing, or what can they start doing now in middle school if they're interested in mental health careers?
That's a great question. I would definitely, like in middle school, start thinking about taking those psychology classes in high school. 8th graders, especially, because this is your last year in middle school, and next year you'll be in high school. I'm sure you guys can email your career coaches, your school counselors, and they will have options of maybe not freshman year, but sophomore year, you'll be able to take some psychology classes as electives, and you can find, am I really interested in this, or am I interested in something else? And you might find there might be one lesson in your psychology class you're like, oh, that really touched for me. It made sense. And then you can move forward from there. But there is no set path. So you make your way about what interests you. Again, what I think is so cool about counseling and psychology in general.
No, absolutely. You bring up an interesting point there. Like you can always find a way to become a counselor or go down that path and take the necessary classes needed. That's how flexible the field of counseling is. And also, how do you stay motivated when things stay hard? What would be the advice you give yourself, and what would be the advice that you give our young leaders just staying motivated, especially as we talk about career exploration and just not knowing what they want to do?
Staying motivated is about just moving forward. Like you said, sometimes there are bad days where just so it's a lot going on. Maybe clients aren't participating. Maybe you're not getting the therapeutic interaction you were seeking in a session. It's just about going to the next session. You get to make sure that you have confidence in yourself, because a lot of times in the field of psychology, it might feel like people are making progress. They're not doing what you want them to do. And it's not on you necessarily, their progress. It's just sometimes things don't work out the way you want to. And you have to be able to find a way to move forward. The biggest thing is just moving forward. And I always tell myself that if you can't stay motivated, you stay consistent. So you keep on doing those things no matter what. And eventually you'll see the progress.
Yeah, steady and slow progress day by day. That's great advice. So, what is something you wish more people knew about counseling?
Counseling, at least outpatient counseling, there's so much flexibility in how you conduct your sessions. Again, I think people look at TV and think it's very cookie cutter, somebody sitting on a couch with glasses with a notepad. In reality, there's so many different types of therapy. Like I said, I do play therapy. Sometimes you go on walks. Sometimes you're journaling. Sometimes you're playing Uno, just trying to get somebody to talk, feel rapport with people. We can do it virtually, in person, in the schools. It just, there's so much variety. It's not cookie cutter.
And that's how you have fun.
That's how you still have fun. So you still like, I love my job.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I see little figurines behind you, and I believe in little things that make people interesting. Are you collecting figurines in the background?
I
What is that?
do. They're pop figures in my comic books and my little like superhero plushies in the background. And so during COVID, when we were doing all telehealth therapy, that was my background when I would do my therapy, especially when I work with kids, because it's the toys are entertaining.
Yes.
I like comic books. I like my pop figures. I have over 100 of them at this point. There's like all over the walls, but that's just my main wall. just show a little bit of my personality.
That is a great background and just a little interesting fact about yourself, too. So, thank you, Miss Little, for being part of today's session, speaking more about counseling career and what that entails. To our young leaders, I hope that you learned a little bit more about what counseling is and how you can see yourself in this field, or what other questions you may have. Miss Little, thank you so much. Do you have any
No
last
problem.
closing remarks before we disconnect?
Don't try to
Yes.
be perfect. Try to make progress.
I love that. Yes, you heard that, young leaders. All right, progress, not perfection, progress. All right, thank you, Miss Little. You enjoy the rest of your day and continue to do
Thank
great
you.
work.